And it was just another day, yeah.
Just another day.
Until I went to the movies, and now it's a movie Tuesday. A movie Tuesday. Until a movie Tuesday.
Yellow, and welcome to Movie Tuesday. To the day where we all gather around in a circle and hold each other's wrists. And we sit and listen to me talk about the news of movies and the movie trailers that I've seen, and then end it all with a discussion of the movies or movie that I've watched in the past week. And I do a little dance around the spoilers so that as not to spoil anything for you if you haven't seen the movie but have plans of seeing it. So, yes, there we go. Right off the bat, let me just go ahead and say I got the Bash and I got the Breeze. They both have pig ears, so they're occupied, but they're going to be loud as fuck. So I apologize in advance for all the background noise that you may be hearing when you listen to this. But, you know, I'm out of options here, people. I got to keep my eyes on one of them. So anyway, let's get to the news, which is not a lot of news this week because I got kind of lazy during the whole Memorial Day weekend. You know, I finally got time to sit down and chill and collect my thoughts and relax. And I wasn't really like keeping up with a lot of the news, and any news that did catch my eye, I feel like wasn't really worth talking about or stuff that I already addressed in the past. So there was that. And then there was also just a lot of news articles about the Wonder Woman movie that's going to be coming out pretty soon, or actually it'll be out today by the time you see this, hopefully. So wasn't really a lot of news, so it's like it's slim pickings, and I was like trying to grab what I could. So starting off, Rian Johnson, the director of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, has gone on record to say that he will not be recycling like past stories and imagery from past Star Wars movies, or just past things in the Star Wars franchise, which is pretty much the movies, I'm going to assume, unless he's talking about the TV shows they've done like Clone Wars and Rebels. But I guess like some fan or somebody on Twitter was tweeting him about the movie, the upcoming movie. And I didn't read it, but I guess they must have asked him, like, you know, is he going to like kind of rehash a lot of like old Star Wars movies into a new movie like they did with The Force Awakens? And he ended up replying to them and saying that he pretty much spent the past 3 years making a film that he doesn't think is derivative. So there's that. I mean, I don't know really how to take that news. I know that judging off of the trailer that I've seen that they keep on showing in every movie I go to, it does look like it's going to be Empire Strikes Back, just updated. You know, Rey is off training with Luke Skywalker, you know, trying to hone her newfound Jedi powers the same way Luke Skywalker went off to go train with Yoda at the Dagobah system. Poe and all the other rebel soldiers are off doing God knows what with the New Order. I don't know what's up with Finn. I don't know if he's like still in the coma or what, but I don't know, man. Just from what I've seen with the trailers, it looks like it's going to be an updated Empire Strikes Back. But from what I have heard from people that have like seen the early screenings or the rough footage of the Episode 8 movie, they're all saying like, you know, I did a news story a while back where they were saying like this one is different, like that's all they would give with the information. I think Daisy Ridley went on record to say that Rian Johnson has like more freedom, or they gave him more freedom with this movie than they gave J.J. Abrams when he did Force Awakens. So there's that. And then there's just him now tweeting out that, you know, he feels like he made a film that stands on its own. It doesn't really pulled from previous movies or something like that. Like I want to believe what I'm hearing, but just looking at the trailer, it's hard to believe all the talk that I hear from people, you know. And the movie is coming out this year. We still are a ways off. And I know that there is talk from people just talking about how it's going to be another rehash. So this could all just be damage control with them talking about how everything is different. Like they're probably just telling people what they want to hear. But then when you go see the movie, you realize, oh shit, it is Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean? Like it could be that. So I don't really know how to take this news. I want to be optimistic and say that he has created something new. That's all that I can hope for. But either way, I'm going to be there to see it. Not sure if I'll be there day one because, you know, I don't want to deal with people's bullshit. But we'll just have to wait and see, man. That's the stage that we're in right now. And it sucks. It sucks that I just can't be excited for the movie to come out. It sucks that I have to have like this worry, this fear, this trepidation of what's to come, you know, like if they're actually gonna get it right and do something new for a change. So I don't know, man. We'll just have to wait and see. Anywho, on to the next bit of news for movies, like kind of staying on the topic of movies that we don't know shit about. Hutch Parker, who is a franchise producer over at I want to say 20th Century Fox, because he's been producing the X-Men movies since Days of Future Past. So I guess that makes his record, or that puts his count at 3, right? Because that's Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, and Logan. Well, then there's also Deadpool. So then there's 4. Interesting. I'm going to have to check. I'm going to have to go and check those credits. But he's been producing or helping produce the X-Men movies since Days of Future Past. He has been going out doing the press junkets or whatever, promoting Logan. And people were asking him about like the Gambit movie and if it's still in the works over at 20th Century Fox. And he pretty much replies and says that there's still a passionate interest to make a Gambit movie, but as of right now, he doesn't have any news on what's going on, and that was about it. So that's really weird. I mean, to say that there's a passionate interest. I mean, is there a passionate interest over at 20th Century Fox, or is there just a passionate interest for you or for Channing Tatum, who apparently is still like willing to star in the movie as the title character? So it's really vague on the news that he's giving. But I don't even know. I mean, I'm gonna catch flack for this, but are people really excited for a Gambit movie? I mean, he had such a bad first outing in the Wolverine movie. Like, I kind of feel like that character is tainted as far as live action goes. They're also kind of screwed with the continuity because in the first Wolverine movie, he's like super young. Like, I would assume the same age as he would be in the comics or in the comics or in the X-Men cartoon back in the 90s. So like if they were to put him in a more updated X-Men movie or just give him a solo movie, it's like, is he going to be a younger Gambit, like in that time period, like during when Logan first got his adamantium skeleton, or are they just going to kind of like shove all that to the side and just do a movie, like a standalone movie, and not really worry about the whole continuity of time or something like that? I don't know what they're going to do about that. I feel like, you know, just based off of his performance or the character's introduction in Logan, I feel like he has to work his way up to a solo movie, in my opinion. I feel like they need to put him in one of these X-Men movies, give him a Quicksilver part where he just has a big old part that blows everybody away and makes everybody go, oh my God, like there needs to be a Gambit movie. Not to say that people are asking for a Quicksilver movie. I don't that would get kind of old, but to have a Gambit movie, like to generate more buzz for that again to kind of like revive that excitement. I feel like they need to just put him or find a way to organically fit him into an X-Men movie. Hopefully he'll have a great showing, and then that like gets people re-energized to be like, oh, you know, there needs to be a Gambit movie. It needs to happen right now. Because at this point, dude, it doesn't look like this movie's happening anytime soon. I feel like you would see Gambit sooner in a Deadpool movie or an X-Men movie than you would a solo movie. I don't know. I don't feel like he's earned the right to have his own solo movie, dude. I mean, I know a lot of people like that character, but it's one of those things where it's like, do a lot of people really like that character, or is it just like a small group of people that really like that character? Because I like Gambit, but I don't need a solo Gambit movie, honestly. I don't know his backstory or anything like that. I just know he's a dude that shoots exploding cards, or he can like touch things and make them explode, and he has a staff. That's about it. And still not really sure about that Channing Tatum casting. I still would like to see Ray Park play Gambit, even though I feel like Ray Park is probably kind of up there in age, but you know, he's probably still a spry man. You know, he could probably still pull it off. So, but Channing Tatum is still in, so there's that. But I don't know, man. Sticking with the in the realm of superheroes, Kirsten Dunst has been going around doing interviews for I don't know what. I didn't read the interview. I just read the story that had the headline of what she was saying about the Spider-Man reboots and how she feels about them. So in the interview, which they were interviewing her about something completely different, but then they asked her how she feels about the Spider-Man movies being rebooted and the upcoming Spider-Man Homecoming movie, like how she feel about it. And she like just flat out was just like, dude, who cares? She was like, we being like Raimi and Tobey Maguire and crew. She was saying that they made the best Spider-Man movies, and all the movies after Raimi's Spider-Man movies are just like cash cows. They're just trying to milk the cow for all it's worth. And she said she really doesn't care about the movies constantly getting rebooted. So like, yeah, that was pretty funny to read that. I don't know like how she was like emotionally, like if she was like being like bitchy about it, or if she was just like nonchalantly just like, I don't care, you know. Maybe she was like laughing while she was saying it. I don't know. It's hard to tell when you're reading interviews, which is one of the reasons why I didn't really like take time to actually read the interview. You know, I just read the quote. But she's not wrong, honestly. Me being a huge Spider-Man fan, I am obligated to care about any Spider-Man movie that comes out, no matter how bad it is. But at the end of the day, if Spider-Man Homecoming like doesn't meet my expectations again, you know, after getting rebooted, I mean, like, I'll be upset, I'll be let down, but I'm not gonna like wish death on the filmmakers. You know, I'm not gonna like blow them up on Twitter or anything like that. It's just, if this movie ends up sucking like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 did, I will always have Raimi's Spider-Man 1 and 2 movies to fall back on and be like, those were good movies. And yes, those were the best Spider-Man movies made. So even till this day, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Tom Holland. I liked him in Civil War, but I still like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, honestly. And I still feel like Spider-Man 1 and 2 are better movies than 3, Amazing Spider-Man, and Amazing Spider-Man 2. And, you know, the verdict is obviously still out for Spider-Man Homecoming, but we will just have to wait and see. As far as like her comments about they're just milking the cow, I mean, yeah, dude, what franchise isn't getting milked? Fast and Furious, Alien, Terminator, Pirates of the Caribbean, Jason Bourne. The list just goes on and on. So Spider-Man is no different from getting those udders tugged on the daily. So, you know, she's, like I said, she's not wrong with the comments that she made. They sound a little blunt, but like I said, it's hard to judge like her, you know, her delivery when you're just like reading some shit. Let's see. Moving on to the next bit of news. Sticking in the realm of Spider-Man, Tom Holland, who has recently been announced as being the lead role as young Drake in the upcoming Uncharted movie. He's been going around doing the press tour, promoting Spider-Man Homecoming and stuff. And he was giving out some casting ideas for who could play the character of Sully in the Uncharted movie. So his choices were Jake Gyllenhaal and Chris Pratt. And he's leaning more towards Chris Pratt because he is currently working with him because, they're both a part of the MCU and, they're going to be in Infinity War together. So he's been like working with Chris Pratt for a minute, and he said he likes working with him and he wouldn't mind working with him some more. So, he was thinking of maybe casting Chris Pratt as the role of Sully in the Uncharted movie. So there's that. The first thing that caught my eye when reading this story, by the way, this is all courtesy of Screen Rant. The first thing that caught my eye when reading this story was that they said Tom Holland is the lead in the Uncharted movie. So that confirms that it's not going to be like just some little flashback, or they're going to do like half the movie with Tom Holland being young Drake and then they'll like do like a little time jump and do like Chris Pratt or Mark Wahlberg as adult Nathan Drake. Like, the movie is going to center around young Drake rolling around with Sully stealing shit. So that was the first thing that caught my eye, and that brings joy to my eyes and my brain thinking about that. So that, that's out the way. As far as like his casting for, his dream casting with Gyllenhaal and Pratt, I mean, they seem kind of young to play Sully. I mean, Sully is a seasoned character, okay? Like, even when he first meets Drake, I think he's got like gray in his hair and wrinkles and shit. Like, I would say Sully was probably pushing his mid to late 40s when he ran into Drake, because by the time Drake is in his late 30s or mid or late 30s, however the fuck old he is, Sully is like up there, dude. Like, he's really pushing it with the age, because he's always like, oh, I'll hang back here, kid, don't worry about it, So casting Pratt in that role is, I feel like Pratt looks too young to play that role. When I think of a Sully in a live action Uncharted movie, I think of somebody like George Clooney. Like, if you're really trying to stick to the essence of Uncharted, if you're really trying to like get them looking as close as possible to the characters in the game, I kind of see George Clooney playing the role of Sully. Like, he's got, stop that. He's got that look. He's got that charisma. I think he could pull it off. So I don't know. I think that I would say like Liam Neeson as well, but I don't know if Liam Neeson can hide his accent, because Sully is like I'm pretty sure he's American, right? Because he doesn't have an accent. But I don't know. I don't know if Liam Neeson could hide his accent to pull off that role, but he definitely has a look too. But I would say George Clooney. That would be expensive as fuck to get George Clooney, but if you want to do this shit right, if you want to make this movie good, or if you at least want to make it look good, try and stay as true to the game as possible, you get George Clooney. Don't be a fool. So, yeah, or Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan could do it too, but then we run into the same problem with Liam Neeson, where like I don't feel like they could hide their accents. I think my dogs are killing each other, so that's gonna do it for the news. And when I come back, we'll get to the trailers. I'm back. The dogs did not kill each other. Now, let's get to the trailer. I watched the trailer for The Hitman's Bodyguard. This was something I just stumbled across on YouTube. I was just doing my rounds, and then I saw a thumbnail of Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson. So I was like, well, I gotta check this out. And it ended up being a trailer for their latest movie getting ready to come out, which is The Hitman's Bodyguard. And judging from the trailer, Ryan Reynolds is some kind of like protection specialist, a bodyguard, and Samuel Jackson is a notorious hitman who's going to be testifying against the mob or just somebody important. And for some odd reason, Ryan Reynolds is tasked with protecting him while he escorts him to his court case or whatever, some shit. And along the way, they run into the shenanigans of outrunning whoever's trying to kill Samuel Jackson and blah, blah, blah. So, all in all, it looks like it's going to be a dumb action movie, but very entertaining. It could actually be the next buddy cop duo that ends up being like a big hit. And I don't think that's happened since, I want to say Rush Hour, but I guess you could get a little more recent and say Ride Along with Kevin Hart and Ice Cube. So this is one of those buddy cop team ups, and I look forward to checking this out. It actually looks like it'll be pretty good. It looks like Samuel Jackson is actually gonna be in more of a physical role when it comes to the action, like doing like some Krav Maga or whatever the fuck they do now in movies. So I'm looking forward to see that. It's kind of like I'm gonna try and like treat this like my audition of Samuel Jackson for the role, for whatever role he wants in John Wick 3, because there was a story a while back where Jackson was talking about he wanted to be in John Wick 3. So I'm sure the the filmmakers of that franchise will probably be looking closely at this movie as well to see how he performs, because I could kind of see Samuel Jackson in John Wick 3, but I feel like he'd be a little, like his face would be a little distracting because he's so recognizable. But I don't know, we'll have to see how it goes. But it looks like it's gonna be really entertaining, like seeing those two clash with each other. I'm always down to see Ryan Reynolds. You guys know that, and I'm glad that he's still doing these smaller movies, or just these more like out of left field type of movies. You know, he hasn't let the success of Deadpool go to his head. You know, so I'm looking forward to seeing my boy Ryan tear up the screen again, and not have his face all covered. You know, so yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got for trailers. Like I said, it's just they've been showing the same trailers over and over as I've been going to the movies, so there's not really a lot to talk about. And I kind of want to overdo it with the trailers right now, because it is slim pickings for me right now. Like I got lucky with this one being on YouTube. Also, it comes out August 18th. At least that's what the trailer, or the poster said. The poster is actually pretty funny too. You should look it up. It's like it's like, remember that movie The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner? It's like that, but Ryan Reynolds is cradling Samuel Jackson, like just not a baby Samuel Jackson, but he's like full grown, just cradling him and protecting him. So that actually looks pretty hilarious. So if that's any indication, you know, high expectations for that movie. Not like too high, not crazy high, but you know, just good popcorn flick to sit down and watch and enjoy. So yeah, The Hitman's Bodyguard, August 18th. And now it's time for your bread and your butter. Gather around while I talk about movies like none other. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Before we even get into it, we gotta go on this little trip just for a sec so I can accurately tell you about this movie. I am a big Pirates of the Caribbean fan. I consider myself that. First Pirates of the Caribbean movie, I'm pretty sure I saw that movie no less than 3 times when it came out in theaters. Dead Man's Chest is the first movie that I actually went to go see by myself. Before that, I could not go to the movies without having at least one other person with me to go see it. And Dead Man's Chest broke that for me, which is how you see the man before you today. Majority of the movies I go see are by myself, and I have Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest to thank for that. At World's End, I feel solidified that franchise to where I would put that trilogy of movies like in my top 10 of greatest trilogies of all time. I feel like At World's End wrapped up that whole story in a nice little bow, and they actually could have just stopped there. Unfortunately, they didn't, but that is the beauty of the first three Pirates movies, is I feel like it wraps up nicely to where you could stop after World's End and never have to see On Stranger Tides or Dead Men Tell No Tales. I don't remember that much about On Stranger Tides. I've only seen it once. There's only like a few things I remember from it. I remember not wanting to go see that movie in theaters because that was the first time with those movies where I was just like, okay, like this doesn't need to exist. Like you guys could have stopped. Like Gore Verbinski didn't come back. Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley were out. I was just like, you could just stop, you know. It wasn't until it came out on video that I just went and bought it just because I didn't want to have like that gap in my movie collection. So, but I do remember like watching that movie and not really liking it. One of the main reasons that kept me from enjoying that movie was that I feel like it focused too much on Jack Sparrow, where I would say that was the movie where Jack Sparrow was like the main character, like the main protagonist of that movie, whereas the previous movies, Sparrow is always, I feel like, a side character, or at least sharing screen time and story time with other characters. And On Stranger Tides was, I remember that movie focusing more on Jack Sparrow, and it was just too much. I feel Jack Sparrow is a character that is better in small doses, and On Stranger Tides messed that up. That being said, Pirates 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales was a good movie. Credits started rolling. I told myself, I still to this day truly believe that Dead Men Tell No Tales was a good movie. But it is also another example that it is time to retire that franchise. It's time to hang it up and leave it alone and don't touch it anymore. And we're going to get into why that is. So my enjoyment from Dead Men Tell No Tales, it stems from the fact that they pretty much took all of the good parts from the first three Pirates movies and just made a whole amalgamation and made Dead Men Tell No Tales. And I feel like that's why I ended up enjoying the movie so much. I'm sure they pulled some things from On Stranger Tides as well, but like I said, there's only like a couple of things that I can remember. And the things that I remember, I guess they kind of threw some stuff in from there as well. But I feel like they mainly took elements from the first three movies and injected them into this current movie. The thing is that not only did they pull elements from the first three movies, but they try and use the same methods that end up contradicting and kind of like breaking the lore that was built in the first three movies. So without spoiling things, for example, one of the methods that they use is they tried to take an object from a previous movie and give it a different type of origin. So the way it was done right, like a good example is Jack's compass. So in the first Pirates movie, the running joke is that he runs around with a compass that doesn't work, right? A compass that doesn't point north. It's not until Dead Man's Chest that they explain the compass isn't broken, it's a magical compass. It points to what you want the most. So it was never broken. You can, like when they did that in the second Pirates movie, you thought back to the first one and you're like, oh, that makes sense because they always joked around that he had a compass that didn't point north, and it turns out it ended up just being magical, right? So they tried to do that in Dead Men Tell No Tales, but you end up going back to previous movies and you're just like, nope, that doesn't match up to what you guys had set up in the first trilogy of movies. So not feeling what you did there, So they do stuff like that. They do things with characters where they kind of like drop revelations on you, like just out of the blue with no reward whatsoever. And for that, we can use the example of on Stranger Tides, where the character Gibbs, you've been with that guy for, before on Stranger Tides, you've been with that guy since the first Pirates movie, right? And he's Jack's go-to guy. He's the lore guy. He's the guy that knows like all the stories of the different pirate stories and things, and all the notorious pirates that roam the seas, right? That's Gibbs. And then in Stranger Tides, all of a sudden he has a photographic memory. Like they just drop that on you out of the blue, I feel. They do stuff like that in Dead Men Tell No Tales, where they just try and like spring these revelations on you with characters that you've been watching on the screen for years, and they just drop like this new revelation where there's no real payoff or no build up to it, or not even a hint of it from previous movies. So we pretty much got to the point where they've had to contradict the lore set up in the previous movies just to progress the plot in this current movie, which I feel is just signs of, it's time to just hang it up, dude. It's, leave on a high note and put the franchise away. I know they're not going to, but my opinion is to just hang it up. All in all, though, like with all that stuff, like I said, I still enjoyed the movie. The characters that they introduce, the new characters are good. They are palette swaps from previous movies. Like I said, just Dead Men Tell No Tales is just an amalgamation of previous pirate movies, and they just take all the things that they got right in those movies and put them in this one. But it doesn't change the fact that the story is still enjoyable. The characters are still enjoyable. Obviously, the standout character out of everyone besides Sparrow is Captain Salazar, played by Javier Bardem, who, I mean, honestly, this is just gonna be added to his resume of badass villains that he's played in other movies. It's not necessarily anything you haven't seen him do before. His performance is a mix of what he's done in No Country for Old Men and Skyfall. Captain Salazar is just as cold-hearted as what was his name in No Country? Was it Sugar? He's just as ruthless as that character in No Country for Old Men, but then he also has the charisma that Mr. Silver had in Skyfall. So that will give you like a general idea of how Captain Salazar was portrayed in the movie, right? The visual effects team did a stand-up job, as like they continue traditions of just having like some of the best special effects in a movie ever. I always go back, like they've been showing the previous pirate movies. They've shown everything but Stranger Tides on cable, and I always sit down and check them out when I get a chance. And I feel like those visual effects still hold up. Barbossa's crew, whenever his skeleton crew, Davy Jones's fish crew, like all that shit, like still looks fantastic even to this day after all these years. And I feel like this movie is going to be no different when it comes to the visual effects. They even go one step further, I feel like the other movies did, by actually explaining like having a clever story to go along with the appearance of Salazar's crew of ghost pirates. Like they all like have these unique looks to them, but they also tell the story of what happened to them and how they died, which I thought was very clever. So there's that. That being said, there's a couple of gripes that I have with the movie, but it's kind of like it kind of like teeters. So as far as like visual effects and cinematography, like the overall movie, how it looks, the movie is pretty dark at times, like visually dark, where there's certain scenes where it's so dark it's really hard to tell what's happening, because there's so much, like, whether there's so many things happening or so many things on the screen, and it takes place in the cover of night. It's kind of hard to see sometimes. But I kind of also want to plant the blame on the theater that I was in. Normally the movie theater is supposed to be like pitch black. The only lights in the theater are supposed to be like the exit signs and the actual movie screen, right? But lately, a couple of theaters I've gone to, they've left on the lights, or at least dim the lights that light up the walkways when you're going up and down the stairs to get to your seat. Though those lights are still on, and the most they do is they just dim them down. And this was one of those moments where the lights were dim, but they were still bright enough to where you could kind of see them like hitting off of the movie screen. So there were times where it just like magnified a lot of those dark patches in the movie, which kind of like fucked up some shit. So shame on you to the lighting crew of the movie, but also shame on the theater for not turning all the damn lights off. So there's that. Sticking to like, placing blames here and there, Captain Jack Sparrow. So Johnny Depp is back doing what he does best, playing Jack Sparrow. I've heard a lot of talk like over the past few years where a lot of people just say like Johnny Depp is phoning it in lately. Like, he just plays a drunken pirate, he's always Jack Sparrow and stuff like that. I've never agreed with it, but in this movie, if someone were to say that, I would agree with them this time. It does kind of seem like he was phoning it in, but when you factor in the time frame of the Pirates universe, where there has been some time that has passed since the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, his attitude does kind of fit with the theme of the movie, where it's just like he's kind of old and grumpy. The only problem is this lies with the makeup team, the practical effects team, where it's like, shame on you guys for not aging Sparrow the way you aged Barbossa, because Barbossa in this movie, like every movie that Jeffrey Rush does with the Pirates franchise, they just age him more and more and more, starting with Stranger Tides. And in this movie, he looks fucking horrible, right? But it makes sense because it's been years that have passed, right? But Jack Sparrow still looks like he's in like his mid-30s. He still looks like he did back in the first Pirates, whereas like Barbossa just looks like he's slowly decaying, But then when you and at first I thought that was just how Jeffrey Rush looked, but then like when you look at interviews that Jeffrey Rush has been doing to promote the movie, I was like, Jesus Christ, like they put a shitload of makeup on him in that movie, dude, because he looks fine here, And I just don't understand why they wouldn't do that with Jack Sparrow. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't put some makeup effects on him. And I'm sure Depp will be down to do some shit like that, but for whatever reason they didn't. So it just looks kind of weird that Barbossa just continues to age as the movies progress, whereas like Jack Sparrow just looks the same. In this movie, he's just more drunk and laid back and is like always sleeping and shit, So like it does look like he's phoning it in, but it fits with what the movie is trying to get across, I feel. So that's that with the with what I did like. Rounding out the gripes that I have with the movie, and this last one I'm probably gonna catch some flack for, but whatever, it's got to be said. If you take offense to it, I'm sorry that you did not do your research before watching this, and and that you don't know by now the type of person that I am, and that I'm not trying to offend you. But my last gripe with the movie And this is something that's been bothering me for a very long time. And I think I've talked about it before. But I'm going to talk about it again, damn it. So the movie's plot revolves around 3 protagonists. You got Captain Jack Sparrow, you have Henry, and Karina. All of them are on a quest looking for the Trident of Poseidon, because apparently it has the power to control the seas or something. Like all debts paid, all debts in the seas, like it has control over all that shit. So like, you know, the whole thing is Henry is Will Turner's son, and he's basically trying to erase the debt that his father has with serving on the Flying Dutchman for all eternity, right? So he's trying to like find the Trident so he can reverse that. Karina's trying to find the Trident because she's an astronomer, and she knows how to like read the map that leads to the Trident. Jack Sparrow's trying to find the Trident because why is he trying to find it again? I think he's trying to. Damn, why is he trying to find that Trident? I can't even remember. I think he's trying to. No, because he's got some kind of debt, doesn't he? I don't know. You know, Sparrow's always trying to like chase eternal life, so maybe that's why. But oh wait, no. Henry is using Jack Sparrow to help him find the Trident, you know, to reverse the effects of like the whole thing with Will Turner. So that's the whole like gist of the synopsis of the story, what's going on. Anyway, between these 3 protagonists, one is a girl, and she is an astronomer. And judging from how people are kind of like taken aback learning of her like extracurricular activities as an astronomer and everything, like learning how to read maps and find things using stars and like using time and pinpointing areas of the map with using a clock, like all this shit, you know, I'm going to assume that that's not a common thing in that time and age. I don't know that fucking time period. But either way, she is a strong female protagonist. And instead of just having her be an astronomer, like an intelligent astronomer person, to like carry that through, to like be like, oh, okay, like I get it, like she's a legit like protagonist, right? They kind of like beat you over the head a little bit with the whole like, you know, falling into the whole cliche back and forth of men are stupid, girls are smart, men are always wrong, girls are always right, even if they are wrong, they're always right, you know, shit like that. So they go back and forth with that. It starts out a little heavy-handed in the beginning. Like it's funny at first, but then they kind of like just keep beating you over the head with it. But it eventually like smooths out as the movie goes on, and then they just straight up just be like, you know, she's an astronomer, like we need to listen to her, right? So that's good. My problem is they go out of their way to like have her prove herself that she is a strong female protagonist, but then they fall into the trap that Hollywood has been doing for years, which is I'm a girl and here's the journey that I'm on, and you're a boy and you're on the same journey that I'm on. So obviously we have to get together. We have to have like a romantic interest within each other. I don't like that. I hate it. Okay. It's been done so many times. And in this day and age where, you know, like people are trying to push equality and get everybody on equal footing, like with as far as like, you know, roles in these movies, like who's the protagonist, who's the hero, who's the villain, you know, who's the main star of the show, all this other shit. Instead of like trying to follow through with that, you kind of like take 2 steps back by still forcing this whole thing of we have to be we have to be romantically interested in each other because we have aligning journeys and we've been hanging out with each other on this adventure. So obviously we're going to be attracted to each other. I don't like that idea. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it's annoying. And it also makes me question the whole like Disney umbrella, because I used to think like they had this kind of synchronization going on, but it turns out it's starting to look like they don't. Because when you look at movies like The Force Awakens and Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like you look at like Rey and Finn in Star Wars. Finn is clearly thirsty for Rey in The Force Awakens, but Rey is more concerned with trying to stay alive and trying to get back to Jakku, right? It's not, it's still time to do it in later movies, but I did like in Force Awakens where it's like Finn is all in Rey's shit and he's obviously attracted to her, but she's kind of just like, nah, dude, like, fuck off. I'm on an adventure here. I'm trying to like figure out who the fuck I am, where I come from, and I'm trying to get back home, and he's like, oh, you got a boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. And she kind of like just brushes him off. I like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't have to have your protagonists of opposite sex always romantically interested in each other just because they hang around each other all the goddamn time. If that were true, I'd be a fucking man whore, okay? I get all the ass if that were true, all right? And these movies are sending the wrong message when they do shit like that. When they do what Dead Men Tell No Tales did. The same thing goes in Guardians of the Galaxy with Star-Lord and Gamora. Obviously, there is a sexual tension between the two, but for whatever reason, they don't necessarily act on it. Where I feel like Star-Lord is like started out being sexually attracted to Gamora, but then like as the movies progress and as they get to know each other more, I feel like he gets more of an affectionate attraction to her. Whereas like she is getting to know him more, and it's like she wants to be with him, but she doesn't. She chooses not to for whatever reason. Maybe she's afraid to get too close. But it's good that they don't fully like explore the whole like, okay, like get them together and they're now a couple. It's like just keep it, just I don't know, man. All I'm saying is just switch some shit up, okay? Just because your protagonist and another protagonist on the same journey and happen to be the opposite sex does not mean that they need to get together romantically. That's all I'm trying to get at. At the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to get at. Because if we're going off of those merits, I mean, Barbossa and Jack Sparrow need to be shacking up because they've been fucking following the same path, going after the same treasure for 5 movies now. And at the very least, they're just good friends. They're just, oh, hey, Hector, how's it going? Hey, Jack, what's going on? Yep, fuck you. See you later. See you on the next one, But, when it's a guy and a girl, it's just, oh, we automatically got to fucking be romantically connected, right? It's like, no, I don't like that. Anyway, that's my final gripe of the movie. With all that being said, overall, the movie is good. I enjoyed it. Do I recommend going to see it in theaters? No, I don't. Not unless there is nothing for you to see in theaters, but you really want to go see a movie. Wonder Woman is out today. It's officially out Friday, so I assume everybody and their brother and mothers are going to go see that. But if you don't want to see Wonder Woman, or if you've already seen Wonder Woman and you want to see something else, then I would say go check out Dead Men Tell No Tales. But overall, I would say that you could wait for this one to come out on video and just check it out then. But yeah, so that's all I got to say about that. There's also the fact that, like I was saying before about, I'm sure they're going to do another movie. I kind of feel like they're going to do another movie regardless of how this one performs. And I kind of have an idea of where they might go with it. I don't want to say anything now, obviously for spoiler reasons, but if you are curious as to what I think, you feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the Chewels, or email me at chewels85@gmail.com. But if not, I'm not going to talk about that till like later in the year when I do the Chewsday Awards for 2017. Now, before I get out of here, I want to show you something. I hold in my hands 3 movies that I recently purchased on video. I got Logan, I got La La Land, and I got Get Out. What do these movies have in common, you say? Besides the fact that they're good movies. I'm pretty sure that in a previous movie Chewsday, when I talked about those movies, I probably said something along the lines of, when those movies come out on video, I will be adding them to my collection. I'm showing you this just to like get my point across that I walk the talk. Okay? I don't just get in front of the camera and recommend what movies you should and shouldn't go see. I don't go against the grain of what the general consensus is just to get a rise out of people or just to be different. What comes out of my mouth is what I truly believe, okay, to like the best of my knowledge. So like when I read an article about a guy who sued his date because she was texting during the movie, and I say something along the lines of, I wish I could have did that to, or I wish I could do that to the assholes that I encounter in the movie theater when I'm trying to enjoy a movie. I'm not saying that just to be funny. Like, it is pure coincidence that it just happens, or that it could be funny when I say it or react to it. But I mean what I say. I really wish that if I'm sitting in a movie and someone like is bothering me with their cell phone or just won't shut the fuck up, I wish I could just like get their information and fucking sue the shit out of them, okay? I wish I had Shinigami eyes where I could just fucking get their name and information and just be like, okay, yeah, this is the motherfucker that's fucking with me. Like, sue, you know? I wish I could do that. That's not an exaggeration. I really mean that shit. So when I say that I thought a movie was good, I thought a movie was fantastic, and you know that you should go see it if you haven't seen it already in theaters, and when it comes out on video, I'm gonna get it and add to my collection. Like, I really mean that shit, okay? I'm not just saying it just to be a sensationalist, you know? Like, I just want to let you know that. I mean, like, out of all my friends and family members, I mean, I feel like they all know that I just have a very huge passion for movies, and I have the movie collection to match. I truly feel confident in saying that out of all my friends and family members that I know, I feel like I have the biggest movie collection ever. Okay? And so yeah, and yes, dude, I still buy movies on video, or you know, I still buy physical media. And you know what? When F Society hacks the planet and erases all your digital information, all your digital profiles, and all your shit just goes into a void, guess what? You're all going to be on the streets, running around, killing each other, trying to get some form of entertainment. And guess what? I will be your warlord. I will be your god that you have to come to and borrow movies from. And I will reject you or accept you as I see fit. So keep that shit in mind before you talk shit about how I live in the old ways of physical media. But yeah, man, like I said, I just trying to like let you all know that, you know, I do this, like, this stuff is for fun. I do it for fun, but I do take it seriously to an extent. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into putting these videos together, and, you know, putting these audio versions together and posting them for all the world to see. And that I'm not one of these like critics out here or reviewers who get shit for free. Like, you know, I don't have the perk of a movie studio seeing my reviews that I give their movies, and if they like it, they're like, oh, you know, take this movie for free for such a great review. I appreciate it. You're a real trendsetter. Like, I don't have that perk, you know. I wish I did, but I don't. My only perk, or my only joy or reward out of all this, is when I look at the stats and analytics of people like all the way across the globe watching my videos or listening to my audio files, I mean, even if they just skip to the very end to hear like a specific part, you know, they don't even have to listen to the whole thing. But it's just the fact that seeing that ticker go up when I check the stats, and it's like, oh, like someone in Indonesia like listened to your movie Chewsday episode, you know, or someone over in Australia liked your episode, or they liked what you said or something like that. I'm like, that's the joy that I get. That's the payment that I get out of it. So, you know, thank you for your support. And just like I said, I just wanted to let you know that I practice what I preach. Okay, I'm not all talk here. I walk it like I talk it. So that being said, the video versions of Movie Chewsday are slowly being worked on and posted whenever I can do it. It's a very long and arduous process. My goal is to get it all posted before I hit episode 30, because, you know, that's where I make the final decision on if I want to keep on posting the video versions, or if I just want to like exclusively switch to just the audio versions and focus on that. So just keeping that in mind. So with that, I'm out. You all be good to each other, and you all take it easy. That was Movie Chewsday. Now it's just another day. I'm out.
And it was just another day, yeah.
Just another day.
Until I went to the movies, now it's a movie Tuesday.
Just another day.
A movie Tuesday. Until a movie Tuesday.